DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? As we head into Hawks-Pacers Game 3 tonight, what I'm doing right now, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. It's just a little analysis with a little bit of game video from Game 2. I want all you out there to let me know what you think it is, if I should do more of these throughout the playoffs, like right after the games take place, or if I should do it a little bit differently. I need your feedback because I want to know if I want to keep doing this or not. So tell me if it's worth the effort if you like these videos or if you don't. Basically, as we talk about Game 2 between the Pacers and Hawks, Jeff Teague of the Hawks didn't dominate the way he did in Game 1. I mean, he has to be the #1 scorer for his team without Al Horford out there. I think Teague is a great #2 scorer, but as a #1 option, which he has to be right now, unless Paul Millsap has a big game, he can't be okay. He has to be great like he was in Game 1. He was okay in Game 2, and that's why what happened, happened. First of all, just like Kendrick Perkins with the Thunder, the Pacers are going to kind of push the issue of forcing the ball into Roy Hibbert, who's not a very good offensive player, but he does draw attention. Kicks out to Stevenson, who makes the driving kick, and hits Paul George, who is a great scorer. They find him the ball with an open shot. A lot of people were saying after Game 1 that Paul George needs to take the matchup of guarding Jeff Teague, and I definitely agree. He's their best defender, and Teague's the Hawks' #1 option, creating offensively. But Jeff Teague is pretty damn quick. You see he gets around the screen and he pulls up quickly. Nobody else is one of those big men you ever played with who complains when they don't get the ball, but you know he's not really that good offensively. But sometimes you got to feed the big to keep him happy, even though he doesn't deserve to get touches. The Teague, Paul George matchup, and Paul George is definitely up for the task, but I think Teague could wear Paul George down if he keeps attacking him off the bounce like he does on a play like this. How often Jeff Teague is willing to actually do this is the question that the Hawks will have to answer if they're going to win this series, though. The problem for the Pacers in playing Roy Hibbert against a team like the Hawks is that all the Hawks bigs can shoot from the outside and they can put the ball on the floor. Peril Antics can shoot out from the outside. You see him here with the ball fake that David West has to respect. And Paul Millsap can put the ball on the floor pretty well, and Roy just can't get out there for those shots. They can begin. The Pacers force the ball in. You see everyone pointing to Lance Stevenson telling him to get a ball to Roy Hibbert. Why? I don't know. Roy Hibbert is not a good offensive player one-on-one. He's just not good at it. The only way the Hawks are going to win is if Jeff Teague takes that #1 role to heart. He's a #2 guy. Without Al Horford, he has to be the top guy. Paul George is doing something he's taking the role of this year, which is be the #1 guy. You see as he attacks the paint, how he draws that help defense, gets his man Luis Scola open, who can't create his own shot. But Paul George creates that shot for him by attacking into the paint and getting the open look. The Hawks come right back offensively. They swing the ball around. Lou Williams is not as effective as he was before he hurt his ACL. I wonder if he'll come back from that. And they get the ball moving, get a couple screens. You see a lot of sloppy passes by the Hawks in Game 2. A lot of sloppy plays. Lou Williams attacks the paint, and another turnover leads to a Pacers transition situation. It was the turnovers and sloppy play that really killed the Hawks in Game 2. Look at DeMarre Carroll. Fell asleep up there. He's the reason that three-pointer by Evan Turner happened. DeMarre Carroll fell asleep on defense again on this play. Now, Paul George is no walk in the park to be guarding, but watch how he starts jogging after this screen by Paul George. Now, watch him trailing Paul George. See how he kind of jogs and relaxes. Then he realizes, uh-oh, my man might shoot this. He's too late. Could have been an N1-3 for Paul George. With Al Horford, I think the Hawks could actually beat the Pacers in this series, but then they probably wouldn't be the #8 seed if Horford was playing. But these kind of plays, the #1 scorer can't make Jeff Teague. He has to take over and dominate if they're going to win this series. What we did get from Jeff Teague, aside from some good scoring, was a lot of bad, ugly shots and a lot of bad, lazy turnovers. They won't win with him shooting those. The reason your coaches tell you to drive into the paint is because you draw help defenders when you beat your man, even if you don't shoot. The first mistake the Hawks make here is having Kyle Korver guard Paul George. This is a mistake all the way from the beginning. His man has the help. Luis Scola, who can't create anything, gets a wide open look. Paul George started to get into his flow. The Pacers played good defense, forced some bad shots from the Hawks. And this is what happens when a team gets into their flow and the best player gets his confidence. Everybody gets going. Hawks will not win this series if plays like this keep happening. Somebody has to step up and take that role. Heading into Game 3 in Atlanta, these are the two things the Atlanta Hawks need. Actually, they need three things. #1, they got to do away with all the lazy turnovers and terrible shots. They had a lot of real lazy turnovers in Game 2 that they can't have against a team like the Pacers, whose strength is defense. #2, their bigs, Antich and Paul Millsap have to punish the Pacer bigs from the perimeter. They can both shoot. They can both put the ball on the floor. The two Hawks bigs, they have to hit shots from the outside. They have to attack. And Paul Millsap especially has to attack off the dribble. He has a very underrated, I wouldn't say underrated, but unappreciated ball handling skills. He can take any Pacers big off the bounce. He needs to do that more often, being that he was an all-star this year. And number 3, Jeff Teague has to play like a number 1 option on a playoff team, which means they're going to need 20-plus points from Jeff Teague, keeping the turnovers down, and he has to make Paul George pay for guarding him by making him work and scoring on him. Run him ragged, run his energy down on defense so he doesn't have as much energy on offense. Because the Hawks don't actually have anybody who can stop Paul George one-on-one all game, whether that be creating off the bounce or scoring on his own. So let me know what y'all think, if I should do more of these reviews. What you think about Game 3 between the Pacers and Hawks. Work on your game.
Listen to me. I can't say it enough. Not only work on your game, perfect your craft. It's your craft. It don't belong to nobody else. Nobody else is responsible for it. You can do, you can be, you can have whatever you want. So for real, work on your game.